Hi guys, you need to pause the video right away and complete this warm-up. Once you're finished with the warm-up, resume the video and I will give you the answers. So pause the video, complete the warm-up, and then we will continue the lesson. Okay, welcome back. This first one you should have said that yes, it is proportional. The reasoning for it is because it goes through 0, 0, and it has the same constant rate. Okay, the constant rate of change would be 8 over 1. And so that is what makes it proportional. Okay, for number 2, it asks which one is not true. So is this graph a straight line? Yes, that is true, so that can't be my answer. The graph does not pass through the origin, so that is also true, so that cannot be my answer. The graph represents a proportional relationship. Well, if it does not pass through the origin, it does not represent a proportional relationship. So this is the one that is false, so C is actually my answer. In your notes today, you need to make sure that you write the objective to write and solve proportions. We will be using unit rates, you will be using equations, but these are the two most important. So at any time during the video, if you need more time to write anything, just raise your hand and ask for the video to be paused. So that way you can make sure that you are catching up. Make sure that you are on task today because it is a long video, meaning you won't have a lot of time for homework if you're not on task. Okay. For vocabulary, you should already have proportion in your vocabulary, so the only thing I want you to write down is cross products. Cross products are when you multiply diagonally. So if you notice the two red ones, I'm multiplying those. The two blue ones, I'm multiplying those. Okay? So 8 times 3 is 24. 6 times 4 is 24. This is what creates our proportion. Okay? You will have a couple on your homework that just give you numbers, and it'll ask if it's proportional. So this one would be proportional. Okay, an example of a not proportional one would be like 3/4 is equal to 4/7. Okay, because 3 times 7 would give me 21, 4 times 4 would give me 16, and those do not equal each other. They never have, they never will, so this is not proportional. Okay, so if they end up equaling the same thing, they're proportional. They do not end up equaling the same thing, they are not proportional. Okay. You will be solving for proportions today, so all we were doing is cross multiplying to find the cross products, and then we will be solving. So it's everything that you've done before. Okay, so step 1 is you have to cross multiply. So if you need these in your notes, that's the first thing you're going to do. You're going to cross multiply. Okay, so if I'm looking at this, I'm going to cross multiply 16 times 3 and n times 4. So n times 4 is going to give me 4n, and I know these always have to be equal. And that has to equal 16 times 3. 16 times 3 gives me 48. Then it's a one-step equation that you guys should know how to do. Okay, so step 2 is you're going to set them equal. And then step 3, you're going to solve the equation or solve for the variable. Okay, so if I divide by 4, n equals 12. There's a couple of ways to check this. Okay, so the first way to check this is I'm always going to replace my n with a 12. I can do 12 times 4, and I know that I get 48, which is what I was looking for, because 16 times 3 is 48. Another way to check this is I can do 12 divided by 16, and I can reduce that, and if I reduce 12 divided by 16, it does reduce down to 3/4. So you can do it a couple of different ways. I'm just showing you ways to check. I'm not going to require that you do check though. Okay, so for this one, if I cross multiply and I do 7 times 21, and then that has to be equal to 3 times n. So 7 times 21 is 147. 3n is just 3n. And then I'm still solving for the one with the variable. So divide by 3, and n is equal to 49. Okay, so this is pretty much the basics of what we're doing today, just a lot of solving. So pause the video and try these two, and then once you come back, we will talk about them. So pause the video, try these two, and then I will give you the answers. Okay, welcome back. You should have taken your x times your 10 and gotten 10x, and then 9 times 4 and gotten 36. And then in order to solve this, I have to divide by 10. So x should have been 3.6. Okay, for this second one, 2 times y is 2y. 34 times 5 is 170. And then I'm going to divide by 2. And so y is going to give me 85. So it's the same process over and over. So if you understand the process, you should get pretty quick and pretty easy. Okay? This next one, I'm telling you how it needs to be set up. You just have to put the numbers into place. So after 2 hours, the air temperature had risen 7 degrees. So right away, it gives me my degrees and my hours. So 7 degrees over 2 hours. That's how I want it set up. Find the amount of time it will take at this rate for the temperature to rise an additional 13 degrees. So that's my degrees. I don't know my hours. So from here, you guys should know how to solve this. So go ahead and solve it, and then when you come back, I will give you the answer. So pause the video, solve the proportion, and then make sure you're solving them at least correctly. Okay, welcome back. You should have had 7x is equal to 26. Now if I divide by 7, x is going to be left with 3.7. So it will take about 3.7 hours to rise an additional 13 degrees. Make sure you are adding your labels, otherwise I will dock you every single time. Okay, you guys pause the video, try this one, and then when you come back, I will have the answer up here and you can try it. So pause the video, complete this problem, read it carefully, and then I will give you the answer. Okay, welcome back. So a recipe serves 8 people and calls for 3 cups. So that's my people, there's my cups. If you want to make the recipe for 14 people, so my people are still on top, I don't know how many cups that'll take. So this is actually a really good real-world example if you have family coming into town and you're used to making cookies for your family, but now you need to double your proportion, or you need to figure out how many cups it's going to take for not quite double the amount of people. This is actually a really good one. Okay, so to solve this, you should have done 8 times x and gotten 8x, 3 times 14, and you would have gotten 42. And then if you would have divided by 8, you would have been left with 5.25. So about 5 1/4 cups of flour, or 5.25 cups. I'm okay if you leave it as a decimal. Okay, so that's what you need to do. This one, make sure that you are writing in your notes because it is a little different, and so I want to make sure that you guys are understanding this one. So if the ratio of type O to non-type O donors at a blood drive was 37 to 43, how many donors would be type O out of 300? So the reasoning this one's a little different is because when I'm writing my proportion, it tells me my type O. Well, my type O is 37, but my total donated is type O and non-type O. So I have to add those together. So when I add those together, I get 80. So that's where I'm getting this number, is you have to know how many total. I can't just skip out on some people because I decided I didn't want to count them. Okay? I'm looking for how many type O donors there would be out of 300 total. So this is just kind of giving me an estimate that if this is the case, what would happen if this many people came in? So it's kind of giving us a roundabout idea. Okay? Pause the video, solve this proportion. When you come back, I will give you the answer. Welcome back. When you cross multiplied, you should have had 80x is equal to 11,100. You divide it by 80. And when you divide it by 80, x gives you about 138.75. Well, I can't have 3/4 of a person. So it's about 139 people. So make sure that your answer makes sense, because if I'm talking about people, I don't want 3/4 of a person. Okay? So you guys complete this problem, pause the video, and when you come back, I will give you the proportion to make sure you're setting it up correctly, and then we'll go over the answer. So pause the video and complete this one. Okay, welcome back. When you completed this, you should have had 17 over 40 because my total athletes are 40. I can't exclude my 8th graders. Okay? If 200 kids came out, I want to know how many 7th graders there were. So when you cross multiplied, you would have been left with 40x equals 3,400. You would have divided by 40, and when I divided by 40, x would equal 85. So there's going to be about 85 7th graders. Okay, so those are about the most difficult ones you'll see, but you need to make sure you're knowing what you're doing. Okay, this one, the only difference is you need to write this equation because you'll need to know how to write the mini equation, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll always have to use it. So looking at this one, Melvin purchased 8 t-shirts for $64. So first I want to find my unit rate. So my unit rate is going to be $64 over 8 t-shirts because I want to know what one t-shirt is going to cost me. Okay, so if I divide this, it's going to be $8 per shirt. So if you notice, this is still a proportion. And then I'm going to write an equation. So my cost per every shirt that I buy is going to be $8 per the amount of t-shirts that I choose to buy, okay? But I want to know for 10. So my cost is going to be equal to 8 times 10, and that's going to give me $80. Okay, so for 10 t-shirts, it'd give me $80. I'm not requiring you to set up the equation if you don't like the equation. You could have very easily said 64 over 8 is equal to 10 t-shirts, how much would that cost me? And solved your proportion that way, and I'm okay with that. This is just another strategy for you to see. So I just want to make sure that you are getting the opportunity to see different ways. Okay, pause the video, you guys complete this one, and when you come back, I will give you the answer. Okay, welcome back. This one you should have had 3112 for 8 gallons, so you had to find per gallon first. So you get about $3.89 per gallon, which is a very expensive price. But then your equation would be cost is equal to $3.89 per gallon. So really you're just writing your unit rate down, but you want to know 11 gallons. So $3.89 times 11, and that's going to give me $42.79. Again, you could have written it in a proportion where 3112 over 8 is equal to 11 gallons over how much money. And I'm fine with that as well. Okay, so what you need to do is I am going to have you guys complete this one on an exit ticket. So pause the video, complete this one as an exit ticket, turn it in, and then you can get your homework and get started. If you have any missing work, you may want to get that in as well because I'm not going to accept anything after Friday. So make sure that you are doing what needs to be done to be successful in my class. Okay, so have a great Monday, and I will see you guys on Wednesday.